to Absolutely Abundant, a podcast for soul-aligned creatives. This is your host, Julie Goetzinger, and this is episode 36, Success Begets Success. So you know the saying, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Why is that? I've done some digging into that myself. I've played in both being rich and feeling poor, being poor. I played with both, as we do as entrepreneurs. And what I found was that advice was so freaking annoying when you're in the depths of it and when the money is not rolling in. And you know intuitively, but you don't want to hear it, that everything is in response to you. This happened to me because I did have a dry period, and my coaches were like, we're not worried. We know you. We know how resourceful and we know how creative you are. You've already had huge success. You can easily do it again. And they were almost confused, like why I was going through this dry spell. And none of them seemed to be able to give me any advice other than, we know you're going to get out of it and we're not going to worry with you about this. And I got chills on that. It was annoying, but it was also the perfect gift because there was no pity. There was no, oh, poor you. No, it was like, why not? What are you doing? We know your capacity. And what it was, when the money wasn't rolling in and when I felt like things weren't working, it felt like it wasn't that they weren't, they actually were. But what I was feeling was unworthy. I was feeling like no one wants to work with me. Nobody sees the value in what I do. I'm a mess. I'm not focused enough. I tore myself up during that period. And what I realized was the more I felt that way, the more I felt like it's just not working. I need to throw the towel in. I should just cancel the whole thing. The more that people were repelled, and they would come, but they wouldn't pay me for whatever reason. Like they would say yes, and then something would happen and they would never pay me. Things like that happened. And it became like a pattern because momentum can go in any direction. Momentum exists when things are going well and things keep going well and people keep booking, the money keeps coming. And then momentum can also go in the opposite direction. And it is in response to you. But what I learned through that experience was it was a gift for me. Number one, so that I would take the time to be more mindful of where I was putting my resources in my business and in my personal life. Did I really need to buy those bottles of water that are pretty costly, or can I use a Brita? Simple things like that I had the opportunity to look into when the resources in the terms of money weren't flowing as much. So that was a gift. And also it was deep dive within to rediscover my worth for my existence here on earth. That feeling of, why am I here? It gave me the opportunity to look at that. Why am I here? And had things continued to move in business during that time, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to look within myself and to discover that I am not what I do. I am not what I look like. I am not what I physically say, or I am not those things. Those are expressions of me. But my essence, my existence here on earth is what deems me worthy. And when you're doing that inner work, sometimes the universe gives you the gift of cutting off other distractions, which can be in the form of clients or partners or friends, or it literally can put up a barrier between you all when you're doing the inner healing work, which is what I found. And then the expression that when the dam breaks and the floodgates open, they open. And what I've done in my own business is set up multiple streams of revenue, and I teach others how to do the same thing. But what I also realized was that I was spending a lot of time building, and my creative energy was being utilized to develop these different programs, to enhance my retreats, to come up with my new creation, which is my VIP coaching day. It was actually my favorite offering right now, where I map out someone's entire coaching program and retreat in just a half day's time. I love it. It's so fun. And that was born during this time. So my creative energy, and I also was not in partnership romantically with anyone at the time either. So all my creative energy and my power went towards building these different streams of revenue, because it is very important to me that I create a legacy for my family and that my children are not left for wanting something that's a basic need. Do I want them to learn the lessons I've learned? Of course. And I do not believe in just handing things to anyone. They will work, they will learn. And if they choose to have their own business, I will help them to create something, but it's going to be on them to do it. No matter how much money I bring in, I always believe in the value of work and work that feels like play. And I would never want to take away from them the feeling of accomplishment that comes when you build an empire. And also when you overcome when things aren't so good. It's powerful. It's super powerful. But as far as success begets success, we often think of that as success is a lot of money coming in. Success is my body looking the way it wants. Success is being in a healthy, loving, committed relationship. Those things can be success if you define those things as success. But you get to choose what success is, and more important, what success feels like. Because if you can get into that feeling of success before the tangible evidence arrives, that is the key. And let me tell you, I know it is freaking hard when you do not feel successful to conjure up those feelings. And we don't want to be inauthentic about it. You don't want to pretend that there's money in your bank account if there's not money in your bank account. You do not want to be delusional. But what you do want to do is to shift your energy. That becomes the most important thing that you focus on. How can I shift my energy to feel successful, to feel alive, to feel worthy? How can you shift your energy to feel that way? And it's different for everyone. Often if we think back to what did we do in childhood that really lit us up, that we decided as a little kid, I'm going to do this for a career. No limitations at the time. Well, maybe you did have someone telling you couldn't do it. But go back earlier than that. Or when you were a kid and you didn't believe what the adults said. You're like, man, grumpy adults, right? But as a kid, what did you want to do? I wanted to be a Broadway star. I wanted to be singing. I wanted to be dancing. I wanted to be beautiful on the stage. And what I started doing was the moth storytelling events. We have one in my area in Washington, D.C., and you volunteer to speak and to share a story based on that night's theme. And I've done it twice now, and both times afterwards, well, actually the one time was another breakthrough because I did not do well, but that's another episode that I recorded. I think it's called Worthy. Check that episode out. The next time I did it, the feeling of triumph, the feeling of success, the feeling of, wow, I did that and it feels so good. That felt so good. And there was no money involved with that. That was a personal success because I chose to put myself out there. I chose to share a personal story. I chose to be brave. I chose to inspire others with my story and my messaging and my courage. And that to me is success. And I started doing more things like that. And then I started doing outdoor photo shoots again because it makes me feel alive and it makes me feel in my creative flow and it makes me feel just like, yes, like in love with life. That is the shift right there. Because I felt that and I just felt it again. Thinking about it, talking about it, brings it right back. Those feelings like I could do this forever. I have no idea what time it is. I have no idea how much money I'm going to make from this, if any, and it doesn't matter. Because this feels so good in this moment. I just want to soak up this moment. I just want to talk about this for as long as possible. Tell as many people as possible how good this feels. Celebrate this. I'm going to write it down in my journal. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to record it in my phone. I'm going to make a podcast episode about it. I'm going to write about it in my blog. Really getting into that energy is like that magnet that's like, whew, people feel that and they want to get in on that. I want some of what she's having, right? That's that feeling. So how can you allow yourself to feel that before any evidence arrives to feel that way for? Something else I've practiced doing is in the past, I have phone calls with people who are considering working with me through coaching or photography. And in the past, I would get really high and excited after I got that yes. And sometimes it was before they paid or signed a contract, which I learned not to do. Then it's like, yay, when they don't pay you or they change their mind. But I've learned to be easier about it and to just think like, of course they want to do this. Why wouldn't they want to do this with me? I'm fun to be with. I create beautiful photos. I create a beautiful experience. I'm damn good at business. I know these things about myself. And I'm willing to feel that and to know that and to separate myself from the result of what another decides to do. Not making it about me. Do they value me? Do they value my work? Are they going to pay me? But more about, I know the value of this, and the right person is going to be so excited. I just had a photographer sign up for a VIP coaching day with me and paid in full, and she, no doubt at all, no doubt in her mind, she was like, absolutely, this is perfect, this is exactly what I want to do. I'm hosting a retreat in January and I really want to work with you and learn how to make that a really great experience. So awesome. I send her a welcome package, her workbook, and tell her a little bit about what to expect. And she writes me back and she says, I feel so much better already. Like she just knew that this was the yes that she needed to make for herself. She felt that trust with me. She was able to relax and to know that this is her next step. And what a gift. And that feels good to both of us because now I know that she's already a yes, not just because she paid in full. That does show commitment, yes. And the fact that she said, I feel so much better already. And that's before we even done any of the work. And that's how I know it's going to work for her because she already believes that it will. She already trusts. She's already open. She's already coachable. She's ready. Let's go. And that is so rewarding to me as well as the coach of having someone that's like, yes. And if I have someone that's not sure, it's not going to be a really great experience for either of us if they're not ready, to be coached, or if they're not ready to spend the money, or if they're not ready to get started on this. It's really not going to be enjoyable for either of us or worthwhile. So we want to allow those people to fall away easily if they're not ready yet. If it's a photo shoot and they want to lose weight, I just had someone say he wanted to grow out his hair. Cool. Who am I to say, no, you're perfect the way you are? And do I believe that? Perfection is in the eye of the beholder. If they don't feel good and comfortable and they want to do something about that, who am I to tell them not to? Same thing with money. If they're not comfortable spending the money, who am I to convince them that they should be comfortable, that this is worth it? No, I want them to arrive at that on their own. It's just like if someone has an addiction and you sign them up for AA or something, it's not going to work. They need to feel the inspirations. And if you look at it the other way, they need to convince you that they're ready. They need to convince you as the artist that they're ready and they're willing to be modeled and molded and tested, because something like a boudoir shoot is deeply intimate, it's personal, exposing. So you want them to show you that they're ready for this. They're ready for this level of exposure. They're ready for this level of trust. Same thing in coaching, same thing in any area of your business. Like you want the people who are ready for what you have to offer. And then your job is to show up at your fullest, to take really good care of yourself so that you can serve them to your highest capacity as well. That is my episode today. Thank you so much for listening. And if you are interested in learning how to work with me on a deeper level, if you're interested in setting up multiple streams of revenue for your business, hosting retreats, adding coaching services, online programs, I am happy to help you. My link will be below. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Bye.